But as if they pick and choose their games, Kelly. As if they pick and choose the games. Oh, it's Man City or it's Liverpool. Your mindset playing for Man United should be every game's a big game. So today wasn't a big game. Is that the attitude of some of them? But Thursday's a big game. I think you're in trouble if you start picking and choosing what you think is a big game. Your whole attitude should be, again, when you're playing for Man United, every game is a big game. And you go and give. So when I listen to Bruno, now, and I've been harsh on Bruno, an amazing player, but I still have question marks about his leadership, even when I watched him there in the bigger picture, and he's doing his usual stuff. But he's certainly not getting any help around him. You know, it must be tough playing in that midfield when the expectation on him is to turn up week in, week out. And obviously that's unfair on him, because when you're playing for a big club like Man United, you need a helping hand. But now when he's doing this, the chats about the supporters and all this, again, to me, it's just sound bites. There's not even meaning to it. Because I don't know how we can listen to the United players doing interviews anymore, because I'm not sure they're an honest group. So why should we listen to... I don't think we're going to get real honesty from this group of players when we're not seeing it week in, week out.
We'll get back to Roy in just a quick second, but remember, if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe. And don't forget to click the notification button so that you know when the next Big D video hits. And as ever, if something is on your mind, if something is bubbling up inside of you that you need to express, please express it in the comments. Big D reads all of the comments, and he's always interested in what is on your mind. Just keep it civil. That's all the Big D asks. Anyway, in this clip, it's going to be more of our beloved former captain, Roy Keane, expressing himself about the current state of Manchester United. And, well, I mean, he does make some valid points. I can't argue with it. However, I do have my own take on what he has to say. But anyway, listen to what Roy says. See what you think. Stick around for after the clip, because the Big D is going to be giving his thoughts on what Roy had to say. Here he is.
Roy, do you have sympathy with the captain having to come out after so many times this season and in previous seasons, not just under Ruben Amorim, and make excuses for the performance?
Yeah, it's not easy. To be fair to Bruno, he does front up and he does come out, and obviously the club push him out because he's the best player and he's the captain. Of course, it's important what he says, but to me, it's kind of just sound bites now from him. Let's hope they win on Thursday, by the way. My goodness, that's all they're talking about, Thursday. Listen, Lyon, I think Lyon is 6th in the French league, so I'd fully expect Man United to beat Lyon at home on a Thursday. But yeah, he's talking about his teammates there and belief and all. But what about his right back who didn't put a leg out or try and tackle for the goal, Dalot? I hope he's pulling him in the dressing room, because he keeps talking about, yeah, I have belief in the players or my teammates. A real good teammate puts demands on each other, whether that's out on the pitch or in the dressing room or on the training ground during the week. I suppose it's called the culture at your football club. So when I listen to Bruno, now, and I've been harsh on Bruno, an amazing player, but I still have question marks about his leadership, even when I watched him there in the bigger picture, and he's doing his usual stuff. But he's certainly not getting any help around him. You know, it must be tough playing in that midfield when the expectation on him is to turn up week in, week out. And obviously that's unfair on him, because when you're playing for a big club like Man United, you need a helping hand. But now when he's doing the chats about the supporters and all this, again, to me, it's just sound bites. There's not even meaning to it. Because I don't know how we can listen to the United players doing interviews anymore, because I'm not sure they're an honest group. So why should we listen to... I don't think we're going to get real honesty from this group of players when we're not seeing it week in, week out. Bruno's mentioned, it's always interesting when you're playing for a big club, they talk about they have turned up in certain games. But as if they pick and choose their games, Kelly. As if they pick and choose the games. Oh, it's Man City or it's Liverpool. Your mindset playing for Man United should be every game's a big game. So today wasn't a big game. Is that the attitude of some of them? But Thursday's a big game. I think you're in trouble if you start picking and choosing what you think is a big game. Your whole attitude should be, again, when you're playing for Man United, every game is a big game. And you go out and give your all. And the second half, for certainly a spell in this game, Man United, when they were giving the ball away cheaply and people not making tackles and making demands on each other. And again, we're at the game live, so we can see the bigger picture. Sometimes you don't see it in the television, and people not covering for each other, people not putting demands on each other. The best players I played with put demands on me, and they wouldn't tolerate me cutting corners. And as you become a player and you play 50, 100, 200 games, so then you put them demands on other people. That's what really good teammates do. They don't let you away with it. They're not teammates, they're bluffers. And this group, again, they lost 14 league games this season. They've lost 14 last year. Everyone can have a difficult spell. So what do we expect when the players come out and chat after games? They're media trained. They'll be told stuff to say. They talk about the pundits or ex-players. We're here to give an opinion. But I'd love to be sitting there, Man United winning 3-0. You go, hey, that's great to watch. Everything you want to see in a team. But I don't see it with this group of players. And I've seen it too many times now. Too many times for it to be a bit unlucky or you can have a difficult spell. This has been going on for a few years now. But what's got them out of trouble over the last few years? Obviously, the cup runs. They've had some good cup runs. But going on cup runs is like Man United from the 80s. You don't want to be a cup run. You want to be a cup team. You want to turn up week in, week out and compete for the big prizes. And still try and win cups, obviously. But your bread and butter, like I'm repeating myself all the time, your bread and butter is what you do day in, day out at your football club. And whatever these players and the manager and the coaches are doing at the training ground day in, day out isn't enough because we're not seeing it out there. We saw Newcastle, they were at it, they looked full of energy. All we heard before the game was about resting players and the manager, Bruno, talking about next Thursday. What about today's match? Does that mean anything to anybody? Because what's the point in us turning up here?
Les raised the question earlier is what changes do they make for the game against Lyon in terms of the personnel that mean that they're going to look better than they did against Newcastle?
Point.
Anana comes in goal.
No, maybe Casemiro, maybe Maguire. These one or two players, but they're not. It's not Ronaldo and Rooney coming back into the team, and I mean Ronaldo and Rooney in their prime, not now. So that's the strange bit about it. You're thinking, who, have I missed somebody? Who's waiting to come into the team that you're going, hey, he's world class, or he's going to be the difference? I know there's some experience to come into the team, and United are home on a Thursday night to Lyon. I expect Man United to win that game. I wouldn't be sitting back and going, oh, hey, listen, we've got Lyon at home, yeah, and we'll roll our sleeves up and we'll take care of them. Again, Lyon are 6th in the French league. United made a couple of mistakes the other night. They would have won the game. So just to dismiss today's match, I don't think it's good. That's my opinion.
Is there a possibility of prioritising, Les, that allows Manchester United to keep a certain level of momentum, of psychological momentum as much as anything? Or do you think conversely, do you think it's damaging to go into the game against Lyon off the back of a 4-1 defeat?
That's what I was going to talk about, the fact that you've lost 4-1 and the manner in which you've lost 4-1. You know, you could lose a game and go, look, we was unlucky. You know, yeah. Now let's look at Thursday. And I know that's all they've been talking about. Let's look at Thursday. Look at Thursday. But the momentum, you've got no momentum going into Thursday. You've thrown all your eggs into one basket, and that's the only basket you've got. So you have to throw your eggs into that basket. But I just can't sit here and I think to myself, it's not a tap. If you play like that, you can't turn it on and turn it off and say, right, do you know what? We're going to be a different Man United on Thursday. I don't see it happening. I just see you going into after a performance like that. I don't know what level you think you're going to get to play on Thursday. You're talking about, Lyon's 6th in the division, but they'll be coming to Manchester United seeing this tonight and thinking, we got a chance of beating Man United. So they ain't coming to Old Trafford thinking, do you know what, we got no chance of winning here. They'll believe they can beat Manchester United looking at that performance today.
You said you don't think as a group they have a strong mentality. How do they even set about switching that and changing the mentality?
I don't know. I think what does help if you start getting some sort of results, or you dig in when you're up against it, get some sort of spirit in the group. I don't want to use the dreaded word, recruitment. Do they get players in the summer? Again, lads who are robust, who know the league. Because, the majority, the percentage of players they've brought in over the last year or two aren't used to the Premier League. And I think it's cut a lot of them out. I think you have to get some players who are used to the Premier League, who've played 100 or 200 games.
And there as well, Roy, how much can they spend in the summer? You know, because what you're going to lose, what you're going to sell, because we're talking about PSR, we're talking about financial fair play. What can they spend in the summer? So you can have a group of players and say, right, these group of players ain't right for me. I need new. But you ain't going to be replacing 11 players in that squad there. You're not going to be able to do that because you ain't going to have the money to do that.
And even the recruitment side of it, we're talking about getting, you always hope that you're getting quality players into United, the money they've spent, but getting it to the right characters. We hear about clubs recently, their recruitment, and Liverpool look at it, and Brentford, and it's about the character, and it's about the play, Bournemouth, recruitment. They've got to be able to play and play at the highest level, but this group don't show that. They're not robust. They don't kind of roll their sleeves up and dig out results. I don't see... Every now and again we do, and they'll pick up a good result like they did at City, and they get a draw at Liverpool, but then other teams recently go to Old Trafford. Every team's getting a bit of joy because there's no... even in Newcastle in the second half, there were just gaps everywhere. They were running through United. United don't even look big and strong. You look at certain teams in the Premiership and you hang your hat on certain things. You go, well, they're big and strong, or they're technically brilliant. Or you look at Liverpool, they tick a lot of boxes. But you look at United going, well, what would you hang your hat on? What would you say they're really, really good at? They've not got a world-class striker. They haven't got a strong spine. They're not athletic. And I keep saying, see, look at United, I'm not sure what they're kind of good at. They're not really good at anything. They've got some half-decent players. But again, what's the saying? The league, the table doesn't lie. We look where United are on the table. But forget about the table. It's all about Thursday. Good luck on Thursday.
Yeah, Roy Keane, he makes some valid points and all of that, and fair enough. And he's saying, where's the heart? Where's the fire? What Man United are going to do? They haven't got this. They haven't got that, etc., 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 etc. And it's almost like, I mean, what do you expect from this team right now in the league? I just feel as though sometimes when these players, these former players, sort of analyse games, sometimes they don't talk enough about the context. This match today was basically a friendly for Manchester United. When teams play friendlies in the summer, it's all about match fitness, and it's all about getting a run out and all of that, and getting ready for the new season. This weird, unique situation that Man United are in at the moment is just like that. Because there's never anything really to play for in a pre-season friendly. Even if you're playing in the Audi Cup out in Malaysia or whatever they're called, out wherever, Man United don't have anything to play for at the moment. And it's all very well and easy to say, well, you've got to play for pride. Play for pride and all of that kind of thing. And he does have a point, I get that. But I can sympathise with the players in that it's going to be difficult coming up against a Newcastle side who are well drilled, who have got something to play for. Because they want to kick on. They want to move up the pyramid and all that. So they were always going to be difficult to beat today. Difficult to get any kind of result today. And especially when Ruben Amorim, he's resting all of his players, because what he's doing is he's doing squad management, because his last hope to make this season anywhere near a success is to win the Europa League. So he needs all of his best players fit for Thursday. And Roy Keane is almost dismissive of, the game on Thursday. Well, what about today? What about today? And it's like, yeah, what about today? How is it going to benefit Manchester United from a footballing point of view? Again, there's always the fan side of things, and I understand that. Entertain the fans and all of that good stuff. I get that, and I do sympathise with that. And I'm one of the first to criticise players when they don't put the effort in. For me, in this circumstance, I do sympathise with the players because there is nothing to play for. It's when there is something to play for, they don't put the effort in, that really riles me up. So... yeah, I mean, I was happy to sacrifice this game. I didn't care that we got beat today. I saw some good enough things that we looked all right, but it's a non-entity game. As long as we turn up on Thursday, that's what we want. Turn up on Thursday, get through to the semi-final, and just tick along in the league, and try and minimise any kind of injuries, and sort of maximise match fitness minutes for players that need a little bit of match fitness, because that's an important thing. Because Mason Mount, as much as I've criticised him, and as much as he hasn't been worth the money yet, if we can get a season out of him, a fully fit Mason Mount, he'll be a useful player. So it was good to see him, have a few minutes today. And when he did come on, he did look a bit nippy and a bit feisty and things like that. And I think he got a couple of shots off as well. So that those were promising signs. But it was just a weird game. it was just a weird game. I mean, does Roy Keane honestly think that if he was playing today, when the club had nothing to play for, he would have been given it busting a gut like he did against Juventus in the Champions League semi-final in '99? I very much doubt it, because he's human as well. But it's all, sound bites and all of this, and he understands his role very well for Sky. He's the villain of Sky that everyone loves and everyone tunes into to hear him have a rant, hear him moan, hear him, kick off on someone, hear him argue with whoever's on the panel or criticise passionately a player like Bruno Fernandes. And yeah, I mean, again, he's criticising Bruno a little bit again. It's sometimes I don't understand what he expects from Bruno Fernandes. I mean, what does he expect Bruno Fernandes to be doing on the pitch that he's not already doing? I remember Roy Keane when he was playing, right? I mean, Roy Keane, to his credit, always tried to play to the best of his ability, right? Okay, and he was feisty, he was competitive, and he influenced games. Outside of that, he didn't do anything else. He might have shouted at a couple of people a couple of times, and Bruno Fernandes does all of that. And when he criticised Bruno for sort of flailing his arms and all of this, Roy Keane did the same thing. He was squaring up to referees, nose to nose, face to face at times. He was getting sent off and swinging punches at people. Does he expect Bruno Fernandes to do that? I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's a weird game today. Hey. But Thursday will be interesting. Really looking forward to Thursday. And he can be dismissive of Thursday all he wants. But the fact of the matter is Thursday is all important for Manchester United and for Ruben Amorim. Because if they win on Thursday and they get through to the semi-final, and if they somehow miraculously manage to win the Europa League, because they do have a chance, because everyone in the Europa League are crap. So Man United are crap, so are everyone else. So that means everyone's got just as good a chance to win the Europa League. So if Man United were able to do it, to be the least crap team in the Europa League, and they got that bumper payday for the Champions League, then that's going to help Ruben Amorim and Ineos to bring in the players in recruitment that's going to bolster that side and make them a little bit better. And then when Roy Keane, lays out another little list like he did there, what are they good at? What are they good at? They haven't got this, they haven't got that. Maybe he'll be able to say, well, they're a good side now. They've got this, they've got this, they've got this, and they've got this. But we shall soon see. What would we do without Roy Keane? But yeah, Keano. Les Ferdinand piping up there about the money side of things. Again, Man United have. I'm not saying Man United can go out and spend 150 million on one player. I'm not saying that. But Man United have more than enough money to be able to buy the players that they need to kick on as a team. And this team is not as far away from soaring up that table as what one might think, or what the pundits, might think, and all of that. They're just a goalie. We do need a goalie, to be fair. We're a goalkeeper and a striker away from soaring up that table and challenging and being able to beat teams like Newcastle. But hey ho, we shall soon see. But what do you think about Roy Keane's comments? Do you think he misses the point? Or do you think I missed the point? Maybe you've got a different point. Either way, thoughts in the comments. And the Big D will see you in the next one.